One. Welcome back to another edition of the Gabagools Podcast, episode 73. I almost had to spot check myself on that one. 73 here. We're ready. We're ripped roaring and ready to go. We had a big birthday celebration for the Dan man over here, turning 30. How we feeling about that?
Let's put it this way. Feeling another year older, right? You wake up in the morning, sometimes you've got an ache or a pain and somewhere in your body and you don't know how or why that happened. Didn't happen when I was 20, tell you that.
Nope.
Somehow or another, 10 years is a big difference, and you would think 20 to 30 isn't a big deal. Let me tell you something. It certainly is. Now, Can't wait for the 30 to 40. That's going to be the big one, I think. 40 to 50, all right, I get it. 30 to 40, though. 30, I still feel like a young, spry enough young man. Still got to make some pains. I think we all do. 40 is going to be the tough one for me.
Yeah, 30 is the new 21, some say. I don't know.
That's what I'm trying to tell people. Everybody laughs at me when I say it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think your best quote yesterday that I heard from you was, they really do mean what you say. Or it was something along the lines of, they really, another year older, another year wiser, something along those lines. Yesterday, you said that, and it just cracked me up because I'm like, it was just.
I said, I think it was, what I've learned since I've been 30 or whatever, and I said, you never stop learning, essentially. So it's just, it's constant, right? You think you know everything, you think you're up here, and then, bam, reality brings you right back down here, right? But we're moving, we're grooving, we're 30 years young, as we like to say. How about the weather today? We mentioned this, I think, the last week or two.
Yeah.
Sweater weather. That's why we've got the jacket on. This is not also because Maria, my love, got this, but it's cold outside. You walk outside, it's like, hold up, wait a minute. 2 weeks ago, it was like 80 out there. Now it's, barely 60. So, sweater weather. Be prepared.
Yep. Yeah, it was chilly. Had the windows open overnight, and it woke up. It was like 62 degrees in our house. So I was like, holy shit. Loved it, though. Love it. Nice little chill, crisp. I'm a big make the blanket work for you. Also, if I ever take a nap, which is, never, unless I'm, very ill, which then I take a little snooze on the couch, it's got to be on a couch. You don't take a nap in your bed. If you take a nap in bed, it's just, that's a sleep. You're going to sleep.
Now, when you say make the blanket work for you, you're going to have to talk to me a little bit about this. What do we mean here? Define that for me. Yeah,
so in college, my one friend, Brad, he told me he had this whole thing about you don't take a nap, you take a nap on the couch, and then, you sleep with one blanket, just one blanket, that's it, and you make that blanket work for you. Make it be like a warm, nice, cozy blanket, and it just keeps you warm in between.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could just say use a blanket. I don't know. I mean, if there's a hidden science behind that, someone's going to have to tell me. I don't know, but
I mean, I don't know the science of the threads, but you do one blanket, it's enough to keep you at a nap schedule where you don't get that full REM. I think. I don't know.
Sounds like some mystic Jedi voodoo.
It could be. I don't know. It was a good terminology, and I stuck with it ever since. But I mean, as I've mentioned, naps don't come very often for me. So
not anymore.
No, not anymore. That being said, shall we jump in to some baseball here?
Let's jump in. Let's dive in.
Dive in. All right. So moving into the biggest sweep of the week was the Dodgers absolutely throttling the Brewers, as everybody from Chicagoland, and when I mean Chicagoland, I think it was just the Cubs fans that really got triggered by that L flag. I saw it throughout the entire week, continuing with this is little brother behavior. Once again, shut the fuck up. They took it to you guys in a 4 or 5 game series. They're allowed to troll you. I know, and that's why it's so laughable when people are like, well, why don't you like the Cubs? It's like, well, when you have little triggering events like that, little events like that set some Cubs fans off. But we're not talking about the Cubs. We're talking about the Dodgers. Sweeping the Brewers, kept them to just 4 runs total in that entire series. That pitching performance from all of their starters was incredible.
Yeah. where do I start here? I guess I don't want to gloat. I don't want to be that guy. I said I would give Milwaukee a game, right? And that was more or less because of LA's team and not Milwaukee's team, right? And I also said it. I didn't love Milwaukee's offense. I believe they scored, was it one run in every single game? 2-1, 5-1, 3-1, 5-1. Look, one run isn't enough in the regular season. It's definitely not enough in the postseason. They scored a few more runs against us, but there were a couple games that were close. They just don't have a real potent offense. Christian Yelich in this series didn't have a hit through the first two games. I believe he had one hit in Game 3, and then Game 4, I believe, might have went another goose egg. Milwaukee's big bats, if you want to call them that. Bryce Terang hitting $114 in the postseason. Christian Yelich $182. Contreras a little bit better, 235. Andrew Vaughn had a great second half whenever Milwaukee got him. He hit $154. Our Italian friend, I believe he's Italian, Sal Frelick, $161. Your lone bright spot here, and I think we might have already mentioned this, Jackson Chourio hit just over 300 in the postseason. He obviously slowed down a little bit in this, a lot of it, I should say, in this Dodgers series, but so did the entire lineup. You mentioned it. When you get 8 innings of one hit ball and 10 strikeouts from Blake Snell from the first game, you think, okay, you gotta scrap that game, right? I mean, but how many games can you throw out when you've got who pitched game 2 for them?
Yamamoto.
Complete game.
And what did
from him.
he do? Yeah, complete game. Unreal. I mean, he was insane that entire game. He gave up one run, and I think it was in the first inning. It was like wasn't it a first pitch? I
think it was a leadoff homer from their best player now, Chourio, and then and it's similar to Bryce Miller in that other series. He gives up a leadoff homer to Springer, and then just doesn't give up anything the rest of the game. So, when you get that type of starting pitching, it really almost doesn't matter what kind of offense you have out there. Even Toronto's offense, it's tough for me to see anyone other than the Dodgers winning. They had a fairly lackluster regular season to their standards, but they got everyone healthy when they needed to at the right time. You got Sasaki pitching pretty well out of the bullpen for them, which was their biggest weakness. Yeah. And the one thing I will say for the Dodgers, they're not scoring a lot of runs. You know, 5 runs is the most they scored. They scored 5 twice. They had 3 in a game and 2 in another. These were some winnable games for Milwaukee. They just weren't able to really do anything against that starting pitching. Good season for the Brewers. You got to tip your cap. They had a hell of a season. They had the best record. Home field didn't really matter for them against LA, though, because they're just a juggernaut right now.
Yeah, and here's the next point too I want to bring up is with in the clincher, we saw probably the single-handedly greatest, not only postseason performance out of an athlete, we're going to say, but in general, across all sports. I don't think we've ever seen someone literally go off like this. Shohei Ohtani hit 3 home runs, and because he is a dual player, we'll call it, he had 6 shutout innings with 10 strikeouts. It was insane. We'll never see another performance like that again. Granted, he is that dual athlete, but it's just coming to my mind here. I have a few performances in my head here that I'll bring up after I pass it over to you. But what was your thoughts on that, for one? And then second, can you think of any performances that even can kind of come close to it? And is it too naive of us to say that was the greatest performance that we've seen out of Ohtani? Or just
it's not. It's not. There's some really good performances. We each did a little homework. We'll rattle off a few of these big games in a minute here, but to be the pitcher, I mean, you don't see the two-way players, right? I mean, we all know Babe Ruth is supposed to be the best overall player that's ever played the game, and the best two-way player, because really no one else, for the most part, has really been able to do it. Be a successful two-way player or just be a two-way player in general. It's incredibly hard to do either of these at the highest level, which is the major leagues. And, Ohtani a couple years ago, he comes over, the Angels win the bid, and I think people are like, well, okay, you got this guy Ohtani, but we got to see how good this guy's really going to be, right? We all know, when they brought him over, they still had Pujols, who was, on the decline, but still putting up some decent numbers. You had Mike Trout, who was still the best player in the league at that time when Ohtani came over. And Ohtani, I think it took him a couple of years, but his last couple seasons have been, they're right up there with what Aaron Judge is doing offensively. And then on top of that, you see what he's able to do on the mound. It's unlike anything you and I have ever seen, and it's unlike anything really anyone has seen in about 100 years. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And to, build off that point too, it was like watching Prime Kershaw go out there, put out, sub 2 ERAs, and then having Barry Bonds in the same category. It was insane. So I do have a couple performances that I want to bring up that are comparable. So obviously you have to bring up Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain put up a 100-point game in 1962. And yes, we can say, what quality of player was he playing against? Was he playing against farmers and, steel workers? And for one, everyone was just feeding him. Yes, we will say that. But you can't change the rules on it. We're talking about massive performances that might never be touched again. That's one of them, in my opinion.
All right. Well, if you're passing it over to me, I have to. Where do I want to start here? I'll start with this one because I saw this a little bit earlier. A 1956 Don Larson throws a perfect game in World Series Game 5. I don't know. I'd have to look up. I forget the exact number of perfect games we've had in our sport over the 100-something years that we've been playing, but it's a small number. To go 27 up, 27 down is almost impossible. It's just the best pitchers in the game can't, every now and then you throw one pitch and you yank it and you hit a guy, or you walk a guy on, he's got a really good eye or whatever. To throw a perfect game and then to do it on the biggest stage in the World Series, that's got to be one of the top games that anyone's ever had on a baseball field.
Right. I agree with you on that one. My next one, obviously we have to be a little bit of a homer on this one. You have to go with Michael Jordan's flu game in 97 in Game 5 against the Utah Jazz. Jordan's sick as a dog. He's got the flu. He could barely stand up, and he still dropped 38 points, 7 boards, 5 assists in the finals. That's a difference maker, and and that's a big thing too, and that just shows why he is the GOAT. And I think that's why you could kind of compare him too in all-time performance. You got to put Michael Jordan in that one with the flu game. And you could make an argument too that what did he have 63 in TD Garden or wherever the Boston wherever the Boston Celtics play in the playoffs. I think he dropped 63 on them one game.
Jordan had so many games that you could have on your list. It's which one do you pick from? You got 30 or 40 at least. This one I looked up. Now, mine are all baseball because I was just kind of narrow-minded here in this exercise. But this guy, I'm going to butcher this last name, unfortunately, but Ron Nicasi? That's probably not right. Minor league game, struck out 27 batters in a 9-inning game. I can't even – again, this is minor leagues. I understand. I had to throw that one in there because I read that, and that to me is we've both played baseball. There's a couple of good hitters on just about every team that you've played. I know that every now and then you got a really bad team. To strike out every batter in that game at least 3 times or whatever. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, agreed. Another GOAT performance. You have to give it to LeBron James. 2016 Finals, Game 6. It's one of the biggest ones that you could mention for him. 41 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds in the Finals. Every minute, every possession, he was just dominating, and that's the same energy that Ohtani brings out there too. And one more note too about Ohtani. He was 2 for 14 in that entire playoff series, too. Forgot to mention that note, too, before going into that one. But he's the difference maker. Literally went out there and shoved.
I'm glad you mentioned that because we forgot to bring up that I think even with his 3-homer game, I believe he's still hitting 220 this postseason. The OPS is just under 1,000, so he's been able to get on base for sure. But he's got 5 homers now and 9 RBIs. 3 of those homers came in one game, obviously, but he has not had a great postseason. Maybe maybe that game gets him going, but now he's got to sit for a few days. We got to see what happens with this Game 7 tonight. I got one more for you before we move on. If we're moving on after this,
I got one more too.
The legendary Bob Gibson in '68 World Series, 17 strikeout shutout. I mean,
could you imagine?
You just don't see guys go the distance anymore. It's just a different game, and I understand I'm going back to the late '60s, but you don't even have to go back that far. Guys are still pitching 7, 8, 9 innings. That day and age has kind of gone by the wayside, but boy, it's when you got a guy that goes out there, and we just saw it this postseason with a couple guys from the Dodgers going 8 or 9 innings. I'm not a huge Dodgers fan. It's fun to see guys go out there and shove for almost an entire game.
Absolutely agree with you 100%. The last two I actually have two because I just thought of another one off the rip. But Adrian Peterson, 296-yard rushing record in 2007 when he just bulldozed the Chargers, and he had 3 touchdowns that game. It was his rookie. Pretty sure that was his rookie year too. It's insane to think about. I mean, he was one of the few running backs that we have left in our, in our era at least, that won an MVP that wasn't a quarterback. So that one was kind of cool. And then another one for football. Obviously, you have to talk Brady too. I'm just hitting every goat on that one, but when you look at Brady when he went the 28-3 moment where he threw for 466 yards and 2 touchdowns and led 5 straight scoring drives and win in overtime. I mean, that's arguably a really major GOAT performance as well.
I'm going to rattle off 3 really quickly here, and 2 of them are basically the same. We've got 2 4-homer games here, one of which happened this year recently. My boy Kyle Schwarber, 4 homers. He had a solo shot, a 2-run, and 2 3-runs. I think it would have been awesome if he was able to get the home run cycle, get the grand slam in there too. That would have been awesome. We also had a 4-homer game from a Mark Whitten in 1993, 4 homers, 12 RBIs, big game there. And my last one was Rick Wise, 1971, threw a no-hitter and hit 2 homers himself. So is that, I mean, just really quickly here, Ohtani, 3 for 3, 3 homers, 6 innings, shutout, 10 strikeouts. Rick Wise, no-hitter, 9 innings, and he hit 2 homers.
Yeah, that's up there. I mean, was it to go to the World Series though?
That I don't have on there, so we'd have to fact check that one. But still a hell of a game, whether it was
absolutely
playoff or not.
Either way, yeah, I'm leaning Ohtani on that one just because of that. Obviously going to World Series, but Dodgers are locked in. We know it. We've kind of expected it. Now let's flip the page over to the AL side because obviously we've got the Mariners and Blue Jays, and they're still battling in Game 7 tonight. The American side, like I said, Seattle Mariners desperately is chasing their first ever World Series appearance. And the Toronto Blue Jays are fighting to stop them. It was pretty evident last night. We saw that. Series is wide open, all down to one. Do you have who's pitching tonight? Is it Kirby?
Yeah, it's Kirby and Bieber, yeah.
Amazing. That's going to be a fun one. The problem is I think it's going to be high scoring. I don't think we're getting that pitcher's duel. If it is a pitcher's duel, great. I don't see it just based off of how the series has been and kind of how baseball is now. We don't see those deep pitching runs unless you're Yamamoto apparently. But, obviously Mariners jumped off to a huge start in the ALCS going up 2-0, kind of taking it to the Blue Jays too. But Blue Jays responded big in Game 3 and 4, pretty much just beat the shit out of them offensively.
Yeah.
And then Game 5, Mariners won that one 6-2. Had a huge go-ahead grand slam in the 8th inning by Gino Suarez. And then obviously, this last night, Blue Jays just closed it out and did enough, and they kind of grinded them down. Mariners are on a brink of history for first ever World Series, as I mentioned, and Blue Jays just won't quit. They have a huge offense. I think that is something that could potentially help them against the Dodgers, whoever plays them. But I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, Seattle, like you said, waiting for looking for their first World Series berth. I believe that means they've never won the pennant, right? So they're looking for a couple of firsts here. Toronto's first. This would be their first pennant since I believe '93. So they've had to wait a while as well. Yeah, game one, Bryce Miller pitched great, 6 innings, similar to that other game we were just talking about with Yamamoto, first inning, leadoff homer. Then he just shut him down for the rest of the way. He was great. These low-scoring games, you got to maybe kind of give the edge a little bit to Seattle with how deep their pitching is. Toronto's had some really good pitching as well. Gosman has pitched well. Savage has pitched pretty well. Game two, Seattle kind of jumped on them a little bit, and you felt like, okay, now we're going back to Seattle for 3 games. They're up 2. This series might be over. And boy, was that not the case. Like you said, Toronto comes back the next couple games, starts to smoke them. We have to give a lot of love to this Toronto offense. Seattle's guys are not hitting the ball very well. You look at some of their averages. J-Rod's hitting $186. Randy's hitting $182. JP's hitting $189. Polanco, who has had one of the better offensive postseasons for Seattle, he's hitting 205. Gino has had a couple of big hits, and that's it. He's hitting 209. Your main guy is Cal, and he's even had a couple of slower games recently. So you look at Toronto really quick. Toronto's got a career postseason right now from Vlad. I think he's tied with 6 homers right now in the postseason for most by one postseason, I believe, for Toronto Blue Jays players. So he's been unbelievable. You can't pitch to him. If I'm Seattle, I don't even know if I want to pitch to him with nobody on. I don't even know if I want to give up the chance to give up a solo homer to this guy. He's hitting 462. His OPS is over 1,500. He's driven in 12 RBIs. He's also only struck out twice. If there's one guy, I felt like this was Cal just a little bit before the Toronto series, and then maybe through the first 2 games, Cal was that locked in. He's maybe slowed down a little bit. But you got to, Vlad's been unbelievable. Ernie Clement has, pardon my French for all you younger viewers, he's fucking came out of nowhere. He's hitting 447 with over an 1,100 OPS. He's got 7 RBIs to go with that. You got to tip your cap to Lucas as well. Barger's had a really good postseason as well. So if it's like you said, and it's going to be a higher scoring game, I'm worried for Seattle, and that's who I've been rooting for. But it's been a hell of a series. So much fun to watch.
Absolutely. And with that being said, I do have one little anecdote too, because this might be, one of the major performances that we see. There is something kind of lingering. If the Dodgers do in fact win the World Series, it could happen. The 2027 season's on the line. If they win, I think this just, kind of solidifies that there's going to be a Major League Baseball strike in 2027. It's unfortunate, but, the collective bargaining agreement ends at the end of 2026. So, obviously the owners want a salary cap. I think there needs to be a salary cap and a salary floor. I think it'd be good for the sport of baseball. I think we're having too many of these teams where they're deferring the money for 10, 15, 20 years, kind of saying who gives a shit at this point. And everybody's going to the Dodgers. It's just team stacking. Nobody wants to see it. Unless you're a major market, these other smaller market like the Brewers can't keep up. But in that same breath, the Brewers are also part of the problem where they're not spending. They came out and just said they're not signing or they're putting Freddie Peralta, their best pitcher, on the trade block because they don't want to pay him $8 million. That's unreal. They've done it with Josh Hader. They've done it with Devin Williams. Granted, those probably are good moves, big picture, but still.
You know what? And that's the interesting one to me. You were just telling me that yesterday. What do you think a team is willing to give for Freddie Peralta? Because you said, he's got 1 year left, right? So you decline that. You've got to try to find a way to sign this guy if you're able to trade for him. What realistically are you willing to give up? He pitched pretty well in the postseason. He might have given up a couple of runs to the Dodgers, but
by that point he had pitched twice against the Cubs. He was already pitching, I think, did he pitch twice against the Dodgers? I don't think he had time to do that. But yeah, he got roughed up. I think it was just, kind of based off of the fact that the Brewers didn't have Woodruff pitching. They didn't have a lot. Money-wise, to answer your question, I think you give him 120-something million for 4 years, if not a little bit more, maybe give him a fifth-year option. A team that I could see getting him, why not the Texas Rangers? They could always use pitching, get him out of the National League. But I could also see a team like the Phillies, who just always seem to be in on these pitchers, and he gets to be a 4 or 5 and still have that ace quality starts.
I got an idea for you. How about the Chicago Cubs? How about the Cubs?
Yeah, good luck.
Fuck you, Milwaukee.
Good luck with that. They will not.
We reel Freddie in. We give him, if we have to move on from Matt Shaw. I like Shaw. I think he could have a solid year next year, a full season up. We can move on from him. I know Tucker's probably not staying here. We got another young kid in Owen Cassie to take over right field next year. And then maybe a veteran presence like an Alex Bregman, maybe, right? He was on the block last year. He's already, I believe, opted out because he had an opt-out after his first year. So he's looking for a few extra bucks. Cubs were super high on him last offseason. I think we were pretty close to getting him. I know people drew the Detroit comparison with A.J. Hinch, but that never came to fruition last year. So, Jedley, Tommy Boy, are we listening here? I'm sure. I know you guys listen every week, but because you guys are, you're real Gabagools, right? But I mean, come on now, let's go out there. Let's get my boy AB, not Antonio Brown, Alex Bregman. Let's get Bregman at third, and let's find a way. Maybe let's go out and get another big-time starter. Let's do something here. Let's make a move. A Freddie Peralta, top of that rotation. You got Justin Steele coming back. Cade Horton, a full year at the big leagues. Shota figures out his home run. Wolves, hopefully. And I think we still have J-Mo. That's a pretty darn good 5. Craig can figure out the bullpen. Let's go. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, that would be interesting to see the Brewers trade within the division. I don't see that happening, but it was wishful.
I could still dream.
You could still dream. But that being said, do you think that the salary cap is going to actually happen? I think it'd be good because it keeps owners. If you put because then you have to have a floor. That's a good thing about salary caps, and personally, this is why I like them. Is you have to have a floor. You can't have the at the time Oakland Athletics who bottom out, the White Sox. Right now they're in a transition period, but still they don't spend the money, or when they do spend it, you get the teams like that who are kind of obligated to now pay for top talent.
My only thing here is, every now and then you get a team that's just really bad, right? And no offense to you guys last year.
No,
I know you guys lost 100 this year too, but last year, you lose 121. We knew you guys were going to be bad. I didn't think you would set the record, and you did by only a game. But, you guys are bad. Look at Colorado this year. It looked like on paper Colorado was going to be really bad. And then at some point in the year, you look at the record and you say, they're going to blow past you guys. And they didn't. So
I know.
Sometimes you got these teams that are just so bad. It's like, sometimes they're just maybe in a bad spot for a year, a couple of years. Would it be nice to see the floor, to at least have a floor? I guess. I think that would be solid. I don't know if we need to have Milwaukee spending 95 on their team. If Milwaukee actually went out and was spending closer to 130, 150 million, you're talking about a team that has another legit bat or another legit arm in that rotation. And you're talking about maybe a different series. That one or two of those games were very winnable. Almost all of those games were very winnable for Milwaukee. They couldn't do anything with the bats. Churio kept having the hamstring woes. If that kid stays out there and Yelich can do something with the bat in that series, and if they get anything from Vaughn or another guy, you're right in there for this series, potentially going 6 or 7.
Absolutely, and I think just the competitive balance across baseball would be a lot better if there is one. I know the players obviously don't want that, and if that comes to the table, they're going to reject it because they want to get paid, just as much as the owners are, if not more. They deserve equal pay with it, but also I think it's getting out of hand with, some of these contracts are just astronomical. But another team too that's not looking to pay what needs to be paid is Tarek Skubal. Like we said earlier this year, when we posed that question, hey, where are we going to go from there? So I guess it'll be something to stay tuned on, and we'll go from there. But, while we sit back and watch Ohtani's home runs and playoff magic with the October adrenaline, somewhere down the line, we are going to have that. But right now, we just have to enjoy baseball while we have it. So it's going to be quick.
All right. What do we do, Jeffrey? Every single week we started with the Thursday night game of the week. That's right, Lola. All right. So We had the Bengals and the Steelers Thursday night. 3 touchdowns from 40-year-old Flacco, just enough for first win in a month. Bengals 33, Steelers 31. T-Law under constant pressure from LA's battering Rams. Rams 35, Jags 7.
I like that one, battering Rams.
2 picks from Wentz. Get Eagles back on track. Eagles 28, Minnesota 22. Titans held lead into second quarter, only to never lead again. Patriots 31, Titans 13. And there's Lola. I was trying to
for
get
the
her
fastest
down,
cat minutes. Fastest cat minute of them.
Yeah, dude, she's taking her sweet time to go too.
That's
okay.
funny.
All right, we're back on track here. Come on, Lola. Fields benched as winless Jets remain defeated. Panthers 13, Jets 6. Tua's CTE shows out as Judkins continues impressive rookie campaign. Cleveland 31, Miami 6. After 0-2 start, Monsters of the Midway win 4th straight. The Bears 26,
the Bears.
Saints 14. Geno Smith experiment might be over. Kansas City 31, Vegas. Put the pen down for this one. 0. NFL's highest scoring offense continues trend. Indy 38, Chargers 24. G-Men blow 19-point lead. Hand Broncos 5th win. Denver 33, G-Men 32. Packers run late to stay atop NFC North. Green Bay 27, Arizona 23. Daniels gets hurt as Cowboys run away with game. Dallas 44, Washington 22. McCaffrey says, "Step aside, young Bijan. I still got it." San Fran 20, Atlanta 10. And we have the 2 games tonight. We have Tampa Bay at Detroit. That's going to be a whale of a game, 6 p.m. And we have Houston at Seattle at 9. Take it away.
All right, let's jump into the game of 40-year-olds, huh? With that Thursday night game. I don't know if you were able to catch any of it, but that was a fun one. Probably one of the more entertaining ones. As I've said notoriously in the past, I hate Thursday night games, especially when I have players playing in them. But yeah. Joe Flacco woke up and realized, hey, maybe if I just feed Jamar Chase, we'll actually win games. Do you know how many targets he had? 23 targets in that game. It was hilarious to watch. Just got peppered on every single thing. And that's honestly what they need to do. If the Bengals want to have a shot, and I don't know if Burrow will come back this year. If they have a shot, they might, because the Browns are bad. Obviously, we know the Ravens are horrible as well. That's the way to do it. And if they can keep themselves in within striking distance of the wild card, which it seems like it's possible in the AFC, you never know. You never know what you might get. But Flacco is doing his job. I love the fact that they threw it 47 times. That was awesome. Good for the Bengals and good for Flacco. On the flip side, Rodgers kind of had a shaky first half with 2 interceptions, but Mr. Reliable, 4 touchdowns there. Jalen Warren had a pretty good game rushing, and then obviously Freiermuth and pretty much every one of their tight ends had a really good game. But yeah, interesting game there.
Big win for Cincinnati, like you said, right? They've got to find a way to win a few of these games with Burrow out, assuming that he's able to come back. Now, when Burrow got hurt, and this was at least 3 or 4 weeks ago, right? It was supposed to be, did I hear 3 months?
Yeah, 3 months, and that's a soonest.
So he's already been out, I believe, a month. You lost 4 straight. You're able to win a game now. I think they won the first 2 games of the season, so are they 3-4 now?
Yep, 3-4. Their upcoming opponents, New York Jets, Chicago Bears, bye week in week 10. Then you got Pittsburgh again at Pittsburgh. I'm not saying it's impossible. You also have New England and Baltimore coming up on that. We'll touch on New England's play a little bit later. They're a little bit better of a team, but I mean, if Flacco can win some of these games for them, it's not outside of the realm that they could be a playoff team.
No, you just got to do enough to stay afloat. And if you can get Burrow back for the last month or so, 5-6 games, and if he can win the majority of those, you can find yourself in the playoffs, and then maybe they're a team you don't want to play.
Exactly. And then while we move across the pond in the first game of yesterday in London, the Rams honestly just beat the hell out of Jacksonville. And it's funny because what we saw to Jacksonville this past couple of weeks, they were looking like a pretty solid team.
They were.
They took to the Chiefs on Monday night. But, without Puka Nacua, you might think, okay, they might rely on the run game a little bit heavier. Kyron really wasn't that effective. He averaged 4.5 yards, but they passed the hell out of the ball. Pretty much got everyone involved. Devontae Adams, drank from the fountain of youth. He had 5 receptions, 3 of them for touchdowns. So take it as it is. But Matt Stafford has had almost an MVP type season, the way he's playing, and it's great to see. You love seeing some of these quarterbacks do that. On the flip side, Trevor Lawrence, he didn't turn the ball over, but he still just is having these issues where it's just like, what are we getting out of him? I just don't know, what to think of. Honestly, the Jacksonville Jaguars in general, but yeah.
Yeah, I think Stafford, didn't he throw for 5 touchdowns? But I think he threw for under 200 yards. I forget how many it was, but you see a stat line like that, and you're like, wait, someone throw for 5 touchdowns, you'd expect to see 350, 400, 450 yards. But
yeah, under Rams, 200. It was 182. It's insane.
Rams are a good team. Jacksonville's still a good team too. I think they're still 4-3 after this. But yeah, I mean, when you lose like this, I mean, this type of loss makes people look at you a little differently. Like you said, Lawrence didn't turn it over, but I think he was sacked. I don't know how many times. I wanted to say like 7 times. I mean, you got to protect him better. Maybe he's worried he's going to get hit. Who the hell knows? But yeah, you can't put up 7 points and expect to win a game in the NFL.
Nope, absolutely not. Moving to our local team, the Chicago Bears, winning pretty easily against the score doesn't reflect how good the team actually played. The Bears won 26-14 over the Saints, going up to 4-2. Let me just break down some stats for you real quick. Obviously, Caleb Williams did virtually nothing in the air, but that wasn't their game plan. I think that's just the that's the big thing I think we just have to remember with them is that they got up early. They just wanted to run out the clock, and they sure as hell did. DeAndre Swift had 124 on the ground. And Kyle Mungai also added 81 yards and a touchdown. So they each averaged about 6.5 yards rushing for 222 total on the day. So, if you don't have to rely on the passing game, I think it's okay. But I mean, Caleb fumbled twice. That's a problem. And then he had an interception. He's got to clean it up. These are games that obviously, if it was closer and they lost, that goes on him, and that's all you're going to hear about. Because they won, they can kind of look by it. So, it just shows how – I mean, the defense played really well, too. You can shift over to that. They forced 3 interceptions on Spencer Rattler. He loves to throw interceptions. Kendrick Miller tore his ACL. He's done for the year. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to, be a Saints fan, I'd say, for whoever is a Saints fan. But, Chris Olave added 2 touchdowns for them, your fantasy owners.
So I'm looking at the NFC North division about an hour ago or so, and I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking a few things, Cuzzo. One.
All right, hit me with it.
We've seen the Bears win four straight, right? That's great to see. They're doing more than enough to win these games, or just enough. Next 3 games at Baltimore. I don't know if Lamar's coming back, and if he's not back, that should be an easy win for the Bears. Next week after that, you are at Cincinnati, right? We saw Flacco turn back the clock. How many weeks can he do that? I expect if there's no Lamar next week with Baltimore, I expect to win these next 2 games. And I don't say that as a Bears fan. I really never say that. The week after that, we play the Giants at home, Bears. This
trap game.
If the
That's
Bears
a trap
have,
game.
If the Bears have any inkling of making the playoffs this year, they will win the next 3 games. They will go on a 7-game win streak. That should hopefully do enough to then at that point, you just got to win 3 or 4 more games, and you should be in the postseason, playoffs, whatever. I think Detroit's 4-1, if I'm not mistaken. They play tonight against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is one of the best teams in the league right now. They are at Detroit, so obviously you got a little bit of an advantage there. We know how good Detroit can be. That's a huge game. Obviously, Green Bay's got a loss, but they also have that stupid tie to Dallas, so that's going to come back at some point by the end of the year. Big game tonight for Detroit and the entire division. Minnesota, they're not that great. We know that. If McCarthy's getting ready to come back in a week or two. We'll see what happens. I think the Bears play them again in like another 3, 4, 5 weeks or whatever. So when we play them, they might even be after the Giants, I forget. But mainly these next 3 weeks, if the Bears want to make the playoffs, these all need to be wins. We need to be 7-2. And then by then, we'll be either in first, tied for second, whatever, and
yeah, I mean, you nailed it on the head. I think they absolutely, even with Lamar, I think the Ravens are just so banged up defensively that I think it will come down to a game of inches at that point. It's an absolutely winnable game.
Do we know anything about Lamar's status?
I haven't heard a whole lot. I could probably look it up while we're still having this chat. But, I mean, even if he does play, to what capacity is he playing? I mean, I would assume he does come back. I mean, I would put
because he's been out at least a month, right? Month and a half.
Right. He missed a couple games too. Yeah. So it's tough. I mean, it's a hamstring injury. You know how those always seem to kind of creep up on you, and with how, like we said last week, it's like do you even rush him back, given the fact that the Ravens are what, they got 1 win, 2 wins. They're not a very good team this year. It's not looking very good for them. But
it looks like for them, it looks like how Cincinnati started last year, because the Bengals got off to such a bad start, and then they won all those games late and almost made the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, you can't rush.
It's going to come down to
Lamar back.
No, and like you said, these are must-win. This is a stretch of 3 games that are must-win, and I think the Giants game is going to be a trap game at home. I think the Giants are that sneaky team that somehow pulls it off.
They've been better the last few weeks.
They blew the game yesterday. Obviously, we'll touch on that a little bit later. But, then you basically get through that stretch. Then you come into Pittsburgh, Philly, and then you got 2 against Green Bay almost like a week apart after that. So, you need to win these games. Obviously, it'd be great to win the division. It's going to be tough. But, I mean, I know it's a lot of hope. At least you got the bye week out of the way. Caleb needs to continue on the trajectory and not turn the ball over, but I think it was just the game plan at that point was kind of out of reach, but need to clean that up. So it's definitely we're getting eyeball emojis on that, because I mean, if you look at some of these other teams, like Atlanta's 3-3, Carolina's 4-3, Dallas 3-3, Washington, Daniels is banged up, he might be out an extended period of time now with a hamstring injury. They're 3-4. The NFC North, knock on wood, is the healthiest division currently, and they might end up walking in with 3 teams at minimum into the playoffs. So we'll see. Obviously, the NFC West also is pretty damn good. So that's all I got on the Bears. Next, let's talk about oh God, this is awful. I don't even want to talk about it. Cleveland at Miami at Cleveland. Quinshon Judkins, 3 touchdowns. That was great. Tua, like you said, has been having some CTE issues, probably 3 interceptions, and honestly, why is McDaniels not fired? That's the biggest question mark I have here. I mean, they're not going to win. They're 1-6. It's a team that's just as bad, if not worse, than the Jets when we get to them. But Tua might be done. I mean, he hasn't looked good. I don't want to say this has had anything to do with him particularly, but like 3 interceptions, you're not going to win the game. They're an awful team. I mean, he relied so heavily on Devon Achane. Pat in the past, and Jalen Waddle's virtually non-existent too. And against the Browns team, that's really not that difficult to beat, in my opinion. Dylan Gabriel is a game manager at this point until they turn it over to Shadur. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Basically, they ran the ball 25 times with Judkins, and he got 3 touchdowns. So,
yeah,
we're on firing watch on that one.
Yeah, that was so. My main question for this game is, how long has McDaniels been there? Because I know he's been there a few years, 3, 4, 5, but You mentioned Jalen Waddle. I thought he was supposed to be a good receiver. I don't know what the hell has happened to him the last few years. Tyreek Hill, maybe his first year in Miami was good, but it seems like ever since he left Kansas City, he's been a shell of what he was there. Tua's had his concussion issues, and I don't, everyone, ever since he came into the league, people were still questioning, is he the guy? Is he not the guy? So, yeah, you look at this Miami team. Yeah, Miami, I think, did beat you guys, if I'm not mistaken, this year.
Yeah, it's not saying much, but
they're pretty bad, though. I picked you guys to win that game, so I don't even know what the fuck happened.
Don't get me started. We're almost at that point where we get to them. We have a couple games before the Jets, but yeah, you're right. I think he's been a coach since 2022, but yeah, I would say at the end of this year, if it's not before it, he's good as gone too. But moving into a team that got a new coach and fired their other one, New England had their revenge game against Tennessee. Mike Vrabel came out, really stuck it to the Titans. Titans are another team that's piss poor.
Not too hard to stick it to Tennessee, though.
No, you're right on that one. They're pretty damn bad. You feel bad for Cam Ward, but Drake May looks like he might be one of the top QBs of that class. Good to see that he had. Not good for me. I'm being a Jets fan, but he did kind of show that he can kind of sling it. Had 2 touchdowns passing. Keyshawn Butte had a decent one. Austin Hooper had one. Stephon Diggs, 7 receptions, 69 yards. And then Ramondre Stevenson held onto the ball and had a touchdown. So kind of mind-boggling, too, that Trevion Henderson has done almost nothing since he's gone to the Patriots. And that was one of the people that one of the players that a lot of people had these hopes and dreams that he was going to be this top running back. And he really should be if they're just not using him in that role. 2 carries for 5 yards is not going to get it done. So,
not in a fantasy perspective, and probably not in a reality perspective either.
No.
Yeah, I'd like to see Hendy do a little bit more. Patriots, easy win. There's a few teams, we mentioned this last week or the week before, there's a few teams in the league that are pretty bad. And when you see that you're playing them, you can almost easily say, not only are we going to win this game, but by double digits. So Tennessee's one of those teams.
Yep, not much to say about them other than the fact that you almost feel bad for Cam Ward. He just keeps his head down. Didn't have a whole lot of problems there. But next game, jumping into Vegas at Kansas City. Like we kind of said, this was kind of the time for the Chiefs to make that run. They don't have as hard of a schedule anymore the rest of the season. They got all the major opponents out of the way.
They're getting hot.
Mahomes. Showing why don't let Mahomes get hot, and that's exactly what he's doing. He had 3 touchdowns today. Pacheco had one on the ground as well. Yeah, Rashee Rice returned, 7 receptions, 2 touchdowns. I think this is where we're seeing the Chiefs honestly take off. And honestly, like you said, Geno Smith, I think he's a quarterback of the past. I don't think we're going to see much of him going forward.
Jeff,
I think it's going to be a Kenny Pickett show.
You or I could have done better in that game over Geno Smith. I don't know what the hell happened there, but yeah, and like you said, with Kansas City,
67 yards.
It's like a little league. It's like a path of football. It's like what the hell happened there? Kansas City, though, like you mentioned, they had a really tough start to their schedule. Now they've got some fluff games in there, and they're taking care of business. They already won a couple in a row. Where are they at? Are they 4-3?
Chiefs, yeah.
You know what? It wouldn't surprise me if they only lost another game or 2 by the end of the year. They're getting on a roll here.
Yeah, and you pull up their schedule and you look at it. It's not super. You got Washington coming up next. Then you got Buffalo. That's actually going to be a tough game.
Yeah.
Denver. What Denver team are you seeing? They seem to come back a lot. If they can put it together, they will be tough. Indianapolis, they're not a slouch. That's another one.
No.
Dallas always is good for a good one, a good shootout. Houston's been playing better of late as well. Chargers at the end of the year, and then the last 3 are kind of same thing. Tennessee, Denver, and Vegas. But you're right. I think there could be 1, maybe 2 losses left on that schedule. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. But unfortunately, we are letting the Chiefs get hot again right at the right time. Team that just kind of shook off whatever they had going on with them. The Eagles winning 28-22. Jalen Hurts said, "Oh, okay, let me just throw the hell out of the ball. Maybe it's going to trade it away." AJ Brown finally. Devonta Smith, 9 receptions, 183 yards receiving, and a touchdown. And
Big
then
game.
Obviously AJ Brown had 4 for 121 and 2. So. They kind of proved that they're not just a one-dimensional running team, but they need to be better. And then obviously it was Carson Wentz, 2 interceptions. I think as soon as JJ is healthy enough, they turn it right back over to him, let him develop the rest of the season and see what they actually have, whether, JJ is that guy or do they need to look in this upcoming draft as well.
Now, when is JJ coming back?
They said it was, because I think it was an ankle injury, right? So I think they said, it could be as early as next week. They had the bye week last week.
Yeah.
So I would assume, it's got to be this upcoming week that they turn it back over to him because
I need him.
It's tough, man. Yeah, I traded him too. Watch him go off now after I got rid of him. But the games don't get much easier. It's a short turnaround this week. They got the Chargers on Thursday night, so. They probably stick with Wentz, and depending on what that is, then you got Detroit. So not an easy slate, but the Eagles finding ways to win. Still that division, they're probably still going to win the division given how bad Dallas can be at times. Now, moving into a team that's just putrid, I can't think of if you had to give me a thesaurus, I don't think there's a word in that to describe how bad the New York Jets are. You bench Justin Fields, who seems to not be able to throw the ball downfield whatsoever. I don't know if it's play calling. I don't know if it's him. I have no idea. I'm done with the Justin Fields experience. Like I said before, everyone's asking me, "Oh, Justin Fields." 6 out of 10 excited. I knew it wasn't very good. I knew it wasn't, even the stats that he's put up this year were always in garbage time. So once again, not impressive. They turned it over to Tyrod Taylor at one point. He threw 2 interceptions. I'm fine with it. He was always throwing the ball downfield to God knows who on the team. I think it was Josh Reynolds or, let me see, Tyler Johnson. That ring a bell for you? Some of these names are just awful.
No, that rings a bell. Now, when they benched Fields, was that just in that game? Are we thinking Tyrod's going to get the start next week or maybe here on out? What are we thinking?
That's to be seen. I know there's a lot of back and forth. They don't know who. I think Aaron Glenn spoke this morning, and he said he wasn't sure which route he was going to go. I think it's entirely possible that Tyrod is the starter going forward. I think they've seen enough out of Justin Fields that he can't even manage it. And at this point, I'd be okay seeing Brady Cook. If you know anything about him, he's just a practice squad guy out of Missouri. You're not going to win games with him. You're not going to lose. You might lose games because of him, but you never know. At this point, it doesn't matter. We're trying to lose. Get the first overall pick. Probably trade back because there's enough QBs in this draft. So, I guess we'll see. That is the absolute toughest part of it. The defense looked good. You held the Panthers to 13 points. Like I said, I don't know how much longer Aaron Glenn has. If they do go 0-17, do you just scrap the GM and coach and start over? Realistically, they need to sell the team. Woody Johnson, get rid of him. Enough's enough. I don't know how to fix the Jets. Basically, you're going to have the number 1 overall pick, and then you're probably drafting either Mendoza, maybe Ty Simpson out of Alabama, or I think his name's Dante Moore out of Oregon. Those are your options at QB. You almost have to start over. And I don't know if Woody gives this front office another shot next year with a new QB, but it can't get much worse.
Who was the kid out of Oregon?
Dante Moore.
Yeah, I'm looking for a quarterback in this draft if I can find one in my sleeper league. So we'll see what happens.
Nope, there you go. All right, moving into the other New York team, the team that blew a lead against the Broncos. I can't believe how bad that. I don't get either of these teams. The Giants can come out look really good for about 3.5 quarters, and then they blow it. And the Broncos could look bad, and vice versa for the first 3 quarters, and somehow they, come back. I mean, I don't even know how you do that. How do you blow a game like that?
Yeah, we were watching some of this game, and it seemed like this game was over, and then you just one thing kind of leads to another, and I mean, let's face it. I know you don't think
they were
Denver's
shut out for
team.
3 quarters.
I'm not thinking Denver's a great team either, but Denver was probably supposed to win this game. I know the Giants have played better the last few weeks, but I mean, yeah, Denver did not play well. They finished well. The Giants opened the door for them, and the Giants walked right through it. And Will Lutz hits the game winner, and you it looked like the Giants were actually going to maybe hold on to it. Jackson Dart scored right there with them at the end. I don't know if it was a field goal. I forget what it was, but it's like, okay, Giants might actually hold on, and then, yeah, I don't know. Giants aren't a good team.
I mean, they were shut out for 3 quarters, and the Broncos put 33 points up in the 4th quarter. It's the craziest stat I've ever seen.
That's quite a 4th quarter.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much more to say. Jackson Dart did everything he really could with 3 touchdowns, but very inaccurate, 15 to 33. Scattaboo did everything, on the ground, but...
You know what they would call that, 33 points in the 4th quarter? That's got to be pretty efficient.
Yeah, I'd say so. That's scoring every time you get it, or, turning the ball over. So, yeah, good for the Broncos. Moving into another game that really... it's kind of surprising is the Chargers fall off. Colts winning 38 to 24. The main thing with the Colts seems to be is that Jonathan Taylor, they kind of go up and down with Jonathan Taylor. If he's running all over everybody, he's gonna, they're gonna win games because he's got 3 touchdowns in each game. It's insane how many, like, the run that he's on. It's pretty wild. Daniel Jones, once again, Indiana Jones doing just enough to get it done as well. They spread the ball around. I mean, Tyler Warren is proving to be the better pick than Colson Loveland. Sorry.
Warren's been great.
Sorry, Bears fans, but I don't know. And that's another one that, I think the Bears are going to, like, your Bears fans are going to see. It's going to be like the Mahomes effect where we're seeing you should have had this guy and you took this guy. And that one was the most questionable one, in my opinion. I don't know why you didn't take Tyler Warren, but...
Yeah, I was out at, I think it was a wedding. I think it was my buddy Brennan and Deb's wedding. Shout out to those two. It was a great time. But I think it was. And we were had a bunch of people on their phones at the, after we're getting food and drinks. And they mentioned that we took, my buddy Chad, I think might have been the first one who mentioned it. He's a big Packers fan. So, of course, he was laughing at the pick. He's like, oh, you took Loveland and Warren's available. And then in that sleeper league I just referenced a minute ago, I took Warren in this league. I could have taken Egbuka. We've got the 1.5 premium, though, in that league.
Yeah.
I decided to go for Warren. I've got Bowers. If Bowers comes back and can do anything, which right now with Geno it's not looking great, but Warren's been great. He's been great. I mean, Daniel Jones has been really good over there with the Colts this year. You mentioned JT doing his thing. Colts are for real this year, and I mentioned it a week or two ago. They're a playoff team. So as long as they stay healthy, this is not a team you want to play.
Yeah. No, I agree. The Chargers, I don't know what they need to do. I don't know if it's on Justin Herbert at this point.
They don't look good.
But 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. They do not look good at all. And then, they were feeding McConkey. He had 15 targets, but no touchdowns. I think he needs to get going, at least for fantasy. Maybe it's just because my team just kind of struggles right now. He's on my team, and that's why I've been paying more attention. But Gadsden, he had the breakout. That was kind of like one of my early free agent pickups, too, in a lot of leagues was Gadsden, and he's kind of going off, so good for him. All right, next game, Dallas putting a beat down on Washington. What's that great quote from Dennis Green, I think it was, against the Bears all those years ago? We are who we thought they were. I think that's the best way to describe the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels got hurt again. I think this is just going to be a reoccurring thing for him. Tweaked his hamstring. He's just always moving. He's always, he's going to put himself in danger constantly. It doesn't help that he really didn't have any target. He didn't have his two top targets. Deebo Samuel being out, Terry McLaurin being out. That doesn't help. But the running game is once again virtually non-existent. It's been a little bit disappointing. I thought, Bill Krosky Merritt would be a little bit more effective, just given his intangibles, but he's been pretty bad. Yeah, and then going to the Dallas side, CeeDee Lamb made his return, and he sure did, with 5 receptions, 110, and 1. So Javonte, Mr. Consistent, though, 19 carries, 116 yards, and a touchdown. And Dak, once again, another guy you could put in that MVP conversation.
I was just going to mention that because I think you mentioned it maybe last week, and he's been red hot this last month or so. Dallas and Green Bay both have that tie. So it's going to be interesting how this shakes out towards the end of the season. And you mentioned Dallas's division. I mean, Washington Mariota can win you a game. He can also not be that great. And the one thing I want to just touch on is Washington's defense. I don't know much about Washington's defense. I know Dallas is a top 5 or a top 3 offense in the league this year. They are scoring 30, 40 points, it seems like, every single game. You do that, you put yourself in a pretty darn good position to win a game. You can't give up 44 points if you're Washington. I mean, they had probably higher expectations coming into the year than Dallas did. You can't give up 44 points. So, good game for Dallas. I know Daniels got hurt, but that's a bad game for Washington. Sorry, Brennan.
Yeah, Washington's kind of falling off the cliff. I mean, they started playing better teams and see what happens, and that's kind of that was the biggest "I told you so" moment for most of the league. But going into that other team that has that tie, like you mentioned, the Packers barely slipping by, in my opinion. It seemed that the Cardinals had them against the ropes pretty much that entire game. They couldn't put them away. Obviously, no Kyler. The running game. It was Bam Knight. He didn't really do much. Michael Carter didn't do much. But your boy, Trey McBride, 10 receptions, 74 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Marvin Harrison Jr., once again, almost non-existent. It's a tale of two cats, as you could say, or tale of two kitties with the Cardinals. They seem to, not be able to finish these games, and we'll probably be picking in the top 5 this year again. But Jordan Love, 1 touchdown, a very unimpressive game, kind of a game manager at this point. They seem to just kind of rely on the running game. But Josh Jacobs, 13 carries, 55 yards, and a touchdown. But they passed the ball around. It was pretty evenly split to Romeo Dobbs, Tucker Kraft, and Matthew Golden. So
I think we learned one thing in this game, and that was that if Trey McBride has a quarterback not named Kyler Murray, he'll actually look to throw you the ball in the end zone. We didn't expect Arizona to win this game. And when you look up and you see they lost by 4 points to Green Bay as a Bears fan, it kind of gives you a little bit of hope, thinking maybe we have to play them twice at the end of the season. Maybe we can find a way to win one of those games. So, and you mentioned it too. Jordan Love has not played that well. He's been lackluster. He's been underwhelming. He just got paid last year, I believe. So, for all you Green Bay fans out there, team's not looking that strong right now. So we'll see how you look at the end of the year. They seem to get better as the year goes on, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just because we live in the Midwest and obviously having the Bears as the home team and, the Packers and the rivalry and stuff like that. But none of these teams are really overly blowing me out of the water. Even Detroit hasn't really been that dominant as
we're going to see tonight.
They were last year. So
we're going to see about Detroit tonight.
Yeah. Yep, we'll give a brief preview for that one too. But last game of the night, Sunday night, obviously the Dirty Birds kind of got smacked around by San Francisco. And San Francisco just got George Kittle back. He didn't do anything in fantasy-wise or in general. He was mainly out there pass blocking, it seemed like. But McCaffrey still keeping up his good year. 2 touchdowns, 129 on the ground. And Mac Jones didn't really do very much. They won that game because of Christian, so.
Didn't have to.
But
you scored 10 points.
At some point, I think they are going to have. You're going to have a conversation. Yeah, I think there's going to be a conversation, having to be had about Michael Penix too. I think it's still a little bit premature.
Are we going back to
is
Kirk?
He the guy there in Atlanta? No. We're not going back to Kirk yet. I don't think Kirk can throw the ball anymore.
Oh, man, that would be good for me.
But, yeah, Michael Penix, 1 touchdown. I mean, Bijan, 14 carries,
nothing.
40 yards, didn't really do much.
He just had like almost 40 points last week.
None of those guys
did nothing this week. I mean, my team's really shit the bed this week. The Fantrax, I have to look. I don't want to jinx myself. I might have won that week. In that, I have to look and see. I was projected to.
You are up right now. You're up. Yeah, you're up right now because I know I was talking to Cody, and I know Cody's not going to listen on this one, but it would be funny if he actually did. But yeah, he was watching it pretty deeply, but his defense just imploded on him. He had 2 zeros on defense, but it comes down to tonight for you. You have no one left, okay, and he's got Baker. You're up 203 to 158. He's got Baker and a defensive lineman and linebacker from Tampa, so. I don't know. Yeah. It could happen. We could see Dan get a second win.
Uncut Chubbs.
That being said, that uncut Chubbs. That being said, I need some magic tonight. I'm down 248 to 210. I have Sam Laporta, Sam Darnold, and what's his name? Derek Barnes from the Detroit Lions. He's got 3 defensive players left. It's going to be a shootout tonight. It's going to be a tough one. I'm upset that game is a little bit later tonight, with Sam Darnold. But hopefully Broadway Sam can give me some hope left. I know it's kind of my season's on kind of on the brink right here. If I lose tonight again, like I lost on Monday night in dramatic fashion by 10, I think I don't know. I think the champ might be dead.
Sounds like your season is going to potentially be decided by the Sams.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's possible. But, I mean, being down as many as I am and still having him have players left, it's not very favorable. But I guess we'll see going forward. So, like you said. But, yeah, Seattle, Sam, if you're listening, need you tonight, buddy. Game's at home. Hopefully it's a shootout. 4 touchdowns passing, 400 yards. I will buy a Sam Darnold Seahawks jersey if that happens. That'll be it. If I win tonight, I'll buy this Darnold jersey.
Hey, how about 4 or 5 touchdowns from Zach Charbonnet and 300 yards?
Sure. If they're all receiving passes from Sam Darnold, I'm fine with that.
That'd be all right, yeah.
But yeah. All right. We hit just about everything on the show. Got anything else to close out on?
73 pods.
Yeah.
I don't have any 73 facts
Blackhawks.
for you. Oh, what do we got?
Blackhawks, close it out. Obviously, quick hitter with Blackhawks. They won last night in overtime. This team's different, like I said. They're winning a lot of close games. They're keeping in these games. They kind of beat the hell on Wednesday. They played the Blues at home and won 8-3. So that's, if you know anything about hockey, that's an insane talent to put up. Team looks good. Frank Nazar. It was. And they're, you know what? Sam Knight, too, the goalie. He's been incredible. Top 10 goalie this year. So keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on Frank Nazar. Connor Bedard's still out there doing his thing. And we'll see what we have going forward.
Let's go Hawks. Let's do something, huh?
Go Hawks. All right. I can't tell if it stopped or not.
I can't tell either.